What is it about commitment that seems to send some black men running for the hills? Now, you've probably heard it before, a stereotype as old as time, that black men are somehow inherently afraid of commitment. It's a notion that's been painted across media, whispered in social circles, and even joked about at dinner tables. But today, we're here to challenge that very stereotype, to dig deeper and to understand if there's any truth to it, or if it's merely an unfair label that has been slapped on without much thought. Let's start at the very beginning. What is commitment? It's more than just sticking with a romantic partner. It's about being reliable, responsible, and steadfast in all aspects of life. It's about standing up and being counted, about following through on promises, and about being there not just in good times, but also in bad. When we talk about commitment issues, we're not merely discussing the unwillingness to settle down with a partner, but a broader issue that encompasses every aspect of life. Now, the stereotype we're discussing today is one that is linked specifically to black men. It's a stereotype that is not only unfair but is also harmful, as it paints a whole group with a broad brush, ignoring individual experiences and personal circumstances. So, why has this stereotype come about? Is it because of societal pressures, historical factors, or is it a simple case of miscommunication and misunderstanding? In this video, we're not here to point fingers or place blame. Rather, we aim to explore this stereotype, its origins, and its implications. We want to understand if there's any truth to this stereotype, or if it's just another myth that needs busting. We'll delve into statistics, listen to expert opinions, and hear personal stories, all with the aim of understanding the commitment conundrum better. So, are black men really commitment phobic, or is there more to the story? We invite you to stay tuned, keep an open mind, and join us on this journey of exploration and understanding. Together, let's challenge stereotypes and strive for a more inclusive and understanding society. Let's dive into the numbers, shall we? When it comes to relationships, marriage, and divorce rates, black men are often spotlighted. But remember, the numbers are just one piece of a larger puzzle. The National Survey of Family Growth reported that by age 35, about 60% of black men have tied the knot at least once. Compare that to about 75% of white men, and we see a clear difference. Yet, it's crucial to understand that this gap doesn't necessarily stem from commitment issues. When we look at divorce rates, they're also higher among black men. The National Survey of Family Growth found that nearly 50% of black men's first marriages end within 10 years. That's a stark contrast to the 32% of white men who find themselves in the same boat. But here's where it gets interesting. When we shift our gaze to the remarriage rates, we find that black men are more likely to remarry after a divorce than their white counterparts. That's right, black men are more likely to give love another go. Now, before we jump to conclusions, it's worth noting that these figures don't necessarily mean that black men have a greater fear of commitment. They simply show trends and patterns. They don't reveal the underlying causes or motivations. For instance, socioeconomic factors, such as income and employment status, can significantly impact marriage and divorce rates. Studies have shown that economic stability plays a huge role in the decision to marry. This is especially true for black men who, due to systemic racial disparities, are often at an economic disadvantage. In terms of relationships, a study by the Journal of Marriage and Family found that black men are just as likely as men of other races to be in a committed relationship. So the notion that black men are inherently less committed is not supported by the data. As we can see, numbers tell a part of the story, but they certainly don't tell the whole tale. Now, what do the experts have to say about this? It's time to delve into the minds of psychologists, sociologists, and relationship experts to try and unravel the reasons behind the statistics we discussed earlier. Psychologists suggest that fear of commitment among black men might stem from past traumatic experiences. These could be personal experiences, such as a tumultuous childhood or witnessing unhealthy relationships between parents. It could also be the result of societal pressure, where the fear of failure or rejection becomes too overwhelming to take the plunge into commitment. Sociologists, on the other hand, point towards economic and social factors. They argue that socioeconomic instability can lead to a feeling of inadequacy, which in turn can make commitment seem like a daunting task. If a man doesn't feel financially stable or secure in his place in society, he might hesitate to commit to a relationship. Cultural expectations also play a significant role. The societal expectation of Black men to be strong, independent, and self-sufficient can lead to a belief that commitment equals loss of freedom and individuality. This perception can cause a reluctance to commit, as it feels like a threat to their identity. Relationship experts emphasize the importance of personal experiences. They suggest that past relationship traumas, such as betrayal or heartbreak, can create a subconscious aversion to commitment. Additionally, witnessing failed relationships within their family or friend circle can create a negative perception of commitment. But it's important to remember that these factors are not exclusive to Black men. They can affect anyone, regardless of their race or ethnicity. Yet it seems that these factors might be more prevalent or have a greater impact in the Black community due to systemic issues and cultural factors. All these experts with their varied perspectives seem to agree on one thing: the fear of commitment among Black men is not a simple issue. It's a complex interplay of personal experiences, societal expectations, and economic factors. The experts seem to agree. It's a complex issue with many contributing factors. But what about the men themselves? What do they have to say? Let's dive into the hearts and minds of the Black men who've shared their personal journeys with commitment. Their stories are as diverse as they are, smashing stereotypes with each word. Consider James, a 30-year-old software engineer from Atlanta. He admits, "I've wrestled with commitment in the past. It felt like a cage, an end to my freedom. But I've come to realize it's not about losing something. It's about gaining a partner, a confidant." Then, there's Chicago-based entrepreneur Malik, who's been happily married for 15 years. He says, "Commitment was never an issue for me. My parents instilled in me the importance of loyalty and dedication. I carried these values into my marriage." In stark contrast, we have Marcus, a 45-year-old journalist from New York who's never been married. He shares, "I've always been a free spirit. The idea of settling down is appealing, but it's just not for me. I value my independence too much." From the sunny streets of Los Angeles, 28-year-old musician Jamal shares, "I think it's about maturity and readiness. I've had commitment issues in the past, but now I'm in a committed relationship. It took time and self-growth." And finally, Michael, a 50-year-old teacher from Dallas, who's been in a committed relationship for 2 decades, says, "Stereotypes about Black men and commitment, they're just that, stereotypes. I've been committed to my partner for 20 years, and it's been the most rewarding experience of my life." These stories are just a fraction of the multitude of experiences out there. Each story is unique and personal, reflecting the individual's journey and perspective. It's not about fitting into a stereotype or breaking it. It's about authenticity and individuality. As these stories show, the stereotype doesn't hold up when we listen to the diverse voices of Black men themselves. So where does this leave us? We've journeyed through the labyrinth of commitment issues among Black men, nudging the stereotype, wrestling with the statistics, dissecting expert opinions, and sharing personal stories. Each step of this journey has illuminated a crucial truth. The issue is far from being a one-dimensional stereotype. Instead, it's a complex, multifaceted narrative that demands our understanding and empathy. Let's revisit the stereotype that Black men are afraid of commitment. As we've seen, this stereotype, like any other, is a sweeping generalization that doesn't take into account individual experiences or cultural nuances. It's essential to challenge such stereotypes because they often perpetuate harmful biases and can severely impact the lives of the people they target. We then delved into the statistics, a realm often seen as the realm of hard facts. But even numbers, we've learned, can be deceptive. They can tell a story, but not the whole story. They often lack the depth and breadth to capture the true essence of human experiences. We must remember that behind every statistic is a person with a unique story. Our exploration of expert opinions brought us face to face with a wide range of perspectives. Psychologists, sociologists, and cultural theorists have given us a variety of lenses through which to view commitment issues. These differing viewpoints remind us that there's no one-size-fits-all explanation. Lastly, we turned our attention to personal stories. These narratives, raw and real, paint a vivid picture of the human beings behind the statistics and stereotypes. Each story is a testament to the fact that every individual's journey is unique, shaped by their personal experiences, cultural background, and societal influences. The takeaway? The issue of commitment among Black men, like any other social issue, is complex and layered. It's not about pointing fingers or placing blame, but about fostering understanding and empathy. It's about challenging stereotypes and listening to individual experiences. So next time you hear someone say Black men are afraid of commitment, remember, it's not that simple. And that's something we should all commit to understanding.